Hello and welcome to From the Roots Up, where we're building our homestead little by little from the roots up. I'm Kristy, and today we are going to be canning peaches. It is day 3 of our Every Bit Counts challenge, and we have the goal of putting a little bit back every day in the month of August. And today we're going to be putting back, we have a few peaches. Let's see, we have 7 peaches, and it's not a ton, but it's enough that we can can them and get them going. So let's can some peaches. The first thing we want to do, because I'm going to be pouring some hot water over these peaches, I'm going to go ahead and heat up the jars. So I'm going to put them in this pot, and I'm going to fill them with water. And then I'm going to sit them on the stove. I don't want them to boil, but I do want them to simmer. So that way they get heated up, and then when I pull them out, they're ready to go with the peaches. But I'm going to go ahead and get that started so that can go while I'm chopping the peaches. All right, so canning peaches is pretty straightforward. What we're going to do is we're going to skin the peach, we're going to slice it up into slices, but I can't just leave the slices setting out because they'll turn brown pretty quickly. So in this bowl, I have a mixture of lemon juice and water. It's 4 cups of water to a 1/4 cup of lemon juice. I went ahead and put 8 cups of water, 1/2 cup of lemon juice in here, and that's going to keep them from browning. So I'm going to go ahead as I peel them and put them into this mixture. This isn't what we'll can them with, but this is just going to prevent oxidization and prevent that turning brown. I'm sure there's a far more elegant way to peel your peaches, so if any of you have any genius ideas, but right now the potato peeler for me is what it is. And I just want to cut it around the pit because peaches have pits. You can can peaches in several different ways. You can can them as peach halves, or you can can them as slices. I'm going to go ahead and can mine as slices because what we do with our peaches, generally speaking, is we make peach cobbler. So I want these to be ready to go. All right, so those are all cut and peeled and in our lemon solution. And now the next thing to do is to make the syrup that they go in. This Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving has a whole chart on syrup, and you can make it as thick or as light as you like. And I don't like really super thick, heavy syrup, so we're just gonna go with a regular old light syrup, which for this, I'm going to do 5 1/4 cups of water, and then 2 1/2 cups of sugar. The sugar does help stabilize the peaches. You can can them in just water, but they won't last as long. They also won't hold their shape as well. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and stir this up. We're going to boil it, and then once it's boiling, it's hot enough to go in the peaches. We can pull the jars off, fill the jars, and then pour this on top of our peaches. All right, we are back. We've got our jars heated up. We have our syrup made, our peaches chopped. What we're going to do now is take our jars out of here, and this is still hot, so we've got to be careful. Make sure we dump that water. Now, I always do extra jars than I think I'm gonna need, because when you're doing this method, you have to heat your jars. You don't want to be reheating jars at the last minute. You can pack these in whatever size jars you want. I chose these kind of jars because this is the size that we use for our peach cobbler. And I'll put a link to the video where Michaela makes this peach cobbler. It's so easy. The girls love making it and it's delicious. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna choose a jar and we're gonna fill it with peaches and pack it down. Now we want to give peaches 1/2 inch of headspace. Headspace is the distance between the top of the jar to the top of your canning liquid. Now what we're going to do is ladle the syrup in here. Again, leaving 1/2 inch of headspace. And you do want to make sure those top peaches are covered. When we're done, I'm going to go ahead and wipe the outside in case I spilled any so I don't get sticky. And you're just going to put, well, before I do that, actually, I'm going to take a knife and get bubbles out of here. We don't want air bubbles in here, so there we go. Now that I did that, I'm going to put a little bit more syrup in here. Then I'm going to take the lid, I'm going to tighten it finger tight and then a 1/4 turn more, not too terribly tight. Then I can take this jar and I can put it back in my pot. Now I want to make sure there's 1/2 inch to 1 inch of water on top of it. And then lather, rinse, repeat. I keep doing this until all my peaches are jarred up. Now, as you can see, this isn't quite enough to fill this jar. I'm going to go ahead and get a smaller jar and then we'll see. All right, now all that's left is to process these jars in the boiling water for 30 minutes. So what that means is I'm going to put the lid on my pot. I'm going to put them on the stove and bring the water to a boil. Once the water is to a boil, I'm going to set the timer for 30 minutes and then I'll turn them off, let them set for 5 minutes, and they're ready to come out. All right, so it's been processing for 30 minutes and we've let it set for 5. Now let's go ahead and see. You might notice some calcification on my jars. That's just from our really hard water here, and you can just wipe that off really easily. Well, that's it for day 3 of the Every Bit Counts challenge. I've got some peaches to add to my pickles and my zucchini. Be sure to join us every day in the month of August. We're going to be preserving something different in the Every Bit Counts challenge. So be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and click the little notification bell and you will get notified whenever we post new content. Thank you so much for joining us.